Did you end up burying her at your house? Okay. Was the shovel or whatever you used, was it at your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put a little hole in my backyard and put her in it.
Okay, I understand. What did you do? Did you have, and you didn't have any help, right? Okay.
I promise I didn't try and kill her. I don't want to go to jail.
I know you don't. Just relax,
I don't have to go to jail, though, right?
Listen, I understand that you're sorry, and I understand that you're upset, and I understand that you didn't want this to happen, okay? Just take some deep breaths, okay? Everything's gonna be okay.
I don't have to go to jail.
You're not going to jail.
The case before us today is sure to spark a heated debate. There are so many unexpected turns that you can't predict what will happen next. Would a healthy child's mother intentionally kill and burn her? Maybe she had such a serious eating disorder that the unborn child died in utero. We want to begin by sending our best wishes and prayers to baby Annabelle. Carlile, Ohio, is a small town around Dayton and Cincinnati. I thought I'd give you a quick history lesson. In the late 1700s, a group from the East Coast arrived and founded a town called the Jersey Settlement. James Tapscott gave land to Baptists, who established the Tapscott Church in the early 1800s. The city quickly grew in importance as a railroad hub after that. In the middle of the 19th century, George B. Carlile purchased the land and platted the neighborhood. The town settled on the name Carlile and was incorporated in 1958. Let's return to the present time. Just about 5,000 people are living in this tiny town, and you may rest assured that nothing unusual or unsettling ever occurs there. How can you be so wrong? All eyes are on Brook Skyler Richardson in this case. Family and friends called her by her middle name, Skyler. She was one of 4 siblings and grew up in Carlile, Ohio. Jackson, her brother, and their parents, Kim and Scott Richardson, rounded up the Richardsons' family. The first thing anyone would notice about their family is that they seem to have the perfect life. The 4 make up the picture-perfect family you normally see in the movies. Skyler and her brother Jackson have always shared a passion for sports. He was a football player at the school, and Skyler was a cheerleader. But there's more. Her job was to be the cheerleader thrown into the air at the start of each routine. She, therefore, took it very seriously. Skyler was well liked by her classmates and achieved high academic success in addition to her athletic prowess. One may say that all parents would give anything to have a daughter like Skyler, who participated in various extracurricular activities and thrived in each one. However, not all was as it seemed. She felt she had to be perfect as a cheerleader or she would fail. Her eating condition was a secret at the time since she was so focused on maintaining her athletic shape, especially for her role as a flyer on the cheerleading team. Her parents said bulimia had occupied more than 90% of her life. Skyler's mom claims that by the time she was 12, Skyler had already developed an eating disorder. Skyler once told Kim Richardson that she didn't want to buy gum because of how many calories it contained and how much weight gain she couldn't afford. This was a severe issue that needed attention.
12 years old, she wouldn't buy gum because it had 5 calories. I didn't even know gum had calories.
Her mother is widely believed to be responsible for her daughter's eating condition. According to reports, Kim Richardson was arrogant and gave a lot of thought to how she came across. And it's possible that this advanced mindset was passed down to her daughter. Of course, all of these are just wild guesses, right? On the other hand, her parents claimed they did all they could for their daughter. They didn't want Skyler to struggle at such a tender age when her whole life lay ahead of her. Nothing appeared to resonate with the star cheerleader, no matter how often they took her to the doctor, therapists, and dietitians. Brook Skyler Richardson was quiet and didn't want to talk about her feelings or thoughts. She was not the type to open up to anyone, not even her parents. In addition, we highlight her anonymity because it plays a significant role in this case. Upon receiving a diagnosis of body dysmorphia, Skyler spiraled downward into a deep depression about her physical appearance. And from that point on, everything in her life began to unravel. She didn't seem to be in her usual good spirits, and her parents worried that things would only worsen. This, however, was not the case. She began dating the cousin of a close friend in July of 2016. Trey was the boy's name and attended a different high school. Although they dated for a while, the couple eventually broke up. The events that took place between the two are shrouded in mystery. Let us now leap forward to 2017, when Skyler found a new love interest. However, this new pairing was nothing like the last one. They attended the same high school, and the boy she was seeing was a junior. He was named Brandon, and from what I could see, she was pretty crazy about him. Indeed, he was the same way. The longer they were together, the more apparent they became to be a perfect match. Her parents also appreciate Brandon and think he's a wonderful influence on their daughter. Kim and Scott saw that Skyler appeared happier than ever during their dating period. The girl's old radiance returned, and she was, once again, herself. After being diagnosed with body dysmorphia, she seemed to have made significant mental progress and was no longer in the dark place where she had been. In addition, the girl's overall appearance improved as she put on weight. At first sight, it may seem like her bulimia was under control due to the relationship and the weight increase she experienced. All of her problems appeared to be going away, and she would soon be able to have a regular life. To mark this change, her parents chose to take the whole family to the beach for a vacation. Skyler seemed content and healthy, and Kim was proud of her daughter's accomplishments. The family had a fantastic time, and the event exceeded all expectations. Skyler's happy, beaming face was captured on camera and shared online. Her mother worried that the cheerleader would become pregnant because of her intense relationship with Brandon and decided to put her on birth control. That was a very mature action on her part. The mother and daughter discussed the problem at length before making an appointment with an OB/GYN on April 26, 2017. Kim waited in the waiting room while her daughter entered the exam room. The girl emerged, but her eyes were swollen and red, indicating she had been crying. She put on a brave face and explained to her mother that she had only been crying because it was her first visit to the gynecologist. Her mother took her word for it since she knew how frightening such a situation could be for a young girl. However, as we shall see, Skyler lied to her mother, and the real reason she was crying before was entirely different. The doctor told the girl she was pregnant during their consultation and that she would give birth in around 10 weeks. However, this window was only an estimate because the gynecologist could not pinpoint the exact moment of conception. As it turned out, Skyler was 36 weeks along when she went in for her appointment. Even though she didn't need it, she asked for birth control while leaving the chamber. They went there specifically because the girl said her mother would be angry if she returned home without it. Even though taking those medicines while pregnant is risky, the doctor complied with Skylar's request and gave her what she wanted. However, there was one catch. The doctor insisted that Skyler return later for prenatal treatment, which she desperately required. Skyler went home with her mother that day, thinking about only one thing. She constantly preoccupied herself with the imminent arrival of her baby. She was quite concerned about keeping the birth a secret from her family and friends, but she had no plan. However, such concerns quickly faded. Other thoughts occupied her head at the time. She found out she was pregnant, and just a few days later, she and Brandon went to prom. She felt beautiful in a skin-tight red dress and had an unforgettable experience. No one seemed to have noticed the girl was 8 months along in her pregnancy. Nobody, including her parents or her date, knew. Several months after the prom, she received a visitor on July 14, 2017. That would be the cops. They assured her she was in no danger and only needed to answer some questions. After that, they hurried her to the nearest station. They responded in this manner in response to a phone call. The gynecologist reported that Skylar appeared to be in labor during her consultation, prompting police involvement. Skylar allegedly had the child and hid it in her backyard, according to the claims. When the police questioned the teenager, she eventually broke down and told them everything. She stated that she returned to her OB/GYN 2 months after her initial consultation and revealed that she had given birth but that the baby had died shortly after birth. At that point, the doctor decided to contact the authorities. Skyler claims she gave birth to a daughter on May 7, 2017, but the baby did not survive. She said she had begun experiencing labor pains that morning, but chose to hide the news from herself. According to her story, she had the baby in the house's bathroom that night. Finally, Skyler searched for a pulse, apparently finding none. The cheerleader reported to the police that she had done all she could to save the infant. She then proceeded to her backyard, where she had a tiny grave dug and buried her stillborn child in secret.
This is a terrible situation. You are not the only 18-year-old girl who's been in this situation, that it was too late to have an abortion, and your entire life is about to be What matters is her, okay? I think that you want to give her a proper burial, but in order to do that, we need to know everything. What's her name?
Annabelle.
Annabelle. Okay, so let's not calling her Annabelle.
You knew I didn't get the truth, and you still had to carry that weight with you.
I am so sorry.
Just, it's possible that she maybe breathed a little bit, like maybe, before.
Maybe.
Okay. What do you do with her?
I put her in the towel.
Okay. Okay. And then what?
I think that was too tight.
Do you feel like she was breathing when you were holding her and you held her too tight? Okay. I know. It's okay. It's okay. You can't. It's okay. You were trying.
I think that was killed her.
Okay.
She insisted under questioning that she had not murdered the infant. Then this issue became the most important part of the case. Was the infant born alive? Is it possible that Skyler killed her child? Maybe she wasn't being entirely honest. Her parents were unaware of what was happening at the time. After questioning her for an hour, the police finally told Kim and Scott what had happened. Kim and her husband enter the interrogation room, where she immediately embraces her daughter. Skyler sobs uncontrollably and apologizes over and over again. Skyler added that she had called the stillborn child Annabelle and that the father was a boyfriend she had briefly had before she started dating Brandon. The next step was for the police to visit her residence and look for the body. After leaving the station, they quickly and easily located the small, makeshift grave where the stillborn had been buried. After that, a pathologist was called in to examine the infant. During the police inquiry, Skyler and her parents returned to their house. We have no idea what the mood was like in the place after that day, but it probably wasn't a good one. Scott got a call 6 days later. The police called her parents and requested that Skyler return to the station for further questioning. Even though she was terrified, the girl went. She got some disturbing information in the interrogation chamber. The pathologist's report had been obtained, and after much investigation, Skyler learned that it appeared the infant had been burned before being buried. When Skyler heard the news, she explained to the investigators that she had no prior knowledge of the situation and was as shocked as anybody else. However, after the investigators probed her with some tough questions, she changed her story dramatically. Her upcoming words will send shivers down your spine and make your stomach turn.
Where'd you put her? No, I mean, like, before the lighter. Where was she? Okay, and then where? Okay. In the hole? So you dug the hole first. Okay. And then you put her in the hole? Okay, and then what'd you do? Okay, where'd you put the... It's all right, look. It is what it is. You can't change it, Skyler. You're just...
I'm scared I'm a stupid.
You are telling us what happened. Nothing's going to change what happened, okay? But your intention was to try to cremate her. So what part did you try to light?
I guess I just...
Part of the remains. Like, did you start, like, at the bottom, at the top? Okay.
Did you have anything else or use anything to help try to light it? Because
So then Skyler admits that she did burn the infant. However, at the time, she claimed that she had only charred the baby's legs with a lighter and had avoided any other portions of the body. It appeared plausible, if not true. The news that Brook Skyler Richardson attempted to cremate her child was accurate. The girl's parents and the police officers were both taken aback by her outburst. It was unbelievable to Kim and Scott that their child could do all that. Additionally, as the video shows, her father reportedly advised her to contact them if she felt terrified or confused. But that wasn't the end of it. Skylar's words gradually altered the original narrative as she spoke. She also claimed that the newborn was conscious and made a small gurgling sound shortly after birth. After her confession, the police quickly took her into custody. She's facing charges of negligent murder. The police took her in, but her parents were able to bail her out so she could return home before her trial. The grand jury heard the case 2 weeks later. The new allegations against Skyler at the time included aggravated murder. This is a life sentence in the state of Ohio because this is such a terrible offense. Skyler faced multiple charges, including murder, manslaughter, child endangerment, and corpse abuse. Her parents, who were on her side, considered the accusations against her completely baseless. They said that Skyler couldn't have murdered the child and that it must have been stillborn. Skyler was detained once more on these additional accusations. Her parents had previously paid bail to get her released, and they did so again. The media wasted no time picking up on the horrific story and broadcasting it worldwide. Everyone who saw it on their mobile device or computer became interested. People were outraged by Skylar's actions and began gathering outside the courthouse to demand that she be given the toughest sentence possible. But that wasn't the end of the story. Something happened over time that stunned everyone everywhere. During this period, we also received a second pathology report. It meant something very different. According to the report, further inquiry proved that the initial assertion was false and that the baby showed no signs of having been cremated. This report was a crucial piece of evidence in Skylar's defense. They thought the girl was coerced into giving a false confession since she first denied setting fire to the infant and later admitted to doing so. So, her lawyers were holding to the idea that the youngster was manipulated into saying anything the police wanted to hear. The prosecution did not drop its charges despite the completed turnaround of the case. They claimed that Skylar admitted to them that she had committed the crimes. During this time, the cheerleader was under house arrest. According to her, she used that time to read. The University of Cincinnati was once on her list of potential colleges to attend before everything went wrong. The state approached her legal representatives in July 2019 in an attempt to strike a settlement. They indicated they would drop the murder case only under certain circumstances. In exchange for her release, Skylar pleaded guilty to the remaining charges. She rejected the plea because she refused to assume responsibility for a crime she did not commit. On September 3, 2019, the trial began, and the prosecution's main problem was that they couldn't prove the infant was alive at birth. Their only proof was Skylar's word that the newborn made a few gurgling noises after birth. However, it's possible that she was also coaxed into making that statement. They had some disagreements, including her visit to the gynecologist 11 days before the delivery. Nothing was abnormal about the heartbeat at that point. Therefore, the baby should have been born healthy and alert 11 days later. It was also established that the girl took the contraceptives throughout her pregnancy, which was widely believed to have negatively affected the child. Skylar's lack of desire for the child was another strike against her. She didn't tell anyone, not even her parents or the child's father. A new piece of evidence confirmed that Skylar had done the unimaginable earlier that day. She was found to have Googled several topics before giving birth rather than preparing for labor, like a normal person would. Abortion-related queries like how to get rid of a baby were among the topics she researched online. It was obvious that she didn't want the newborn girl. They contended that she tried everything in her power to prevent the birth of her child, even though she was too far along in her pregnancy to get an abortion. Another factor was also taken into account. As far as the detectives were concerned, The pregnant woman was aware of her situation because she was a vain, image-obsessed person who wanted a picture-perfect family. You might be wondering why. The pregnancy results were reportedly emailed to Skylar's mother by mistake. A text message from Skylar's mother, Kim, wondering, "What the hell is this email about?" was obtained. Skylar persuaded her mother that this was not the case and that she had made a mistake. Worse yet, while they discussed the email, her mother warned her that if the message was genuine, it better not be true or your life will be over. So the 18-year-old was under much pressure from her mother, who was concerned about the family's reputation. An investigation video revealed the words, "We had a perfect life." Kim Richardson said it. They had also discovered other text messages between them. They were sent out before the birth. Skylar seemed concerned about fitting into her prom dress, as she told her mother, "I hate being like this so much that I want to look amazing again." After the baby was born, Skylar sent a text message expressing her excitement about supper and relief at having her belly button back and being able to wear cute clothes again. Don't you think her mom would wonder what she meant by that? So, a mother who didn't understand what was happening would naturally inquire further. So, to put it mildly, theirs was an unusual pairing. Skylar texted her mother, unrelated to the pregnancy, "I'm so happy, I lost 20 pounds. And her mother thanked the girl, telling her she was her inspiration. Wouldn't she worry more about the girl's weight loss if she knew the child had bulimia? We now have reason to doubt the parents' claim that they exhausted all options to treat their daughter's eating condition. Kim Richardson gave her daughter laxatives to assist her in shedding some pounds. You have to wonder what kind of mother she was if she let her child undergo such a risky and harmful treatment. However, let's return to the case itself. Skylar appears to have texted her partner the night after giving birth, expressing her joy at the arrival of her newborn and relief at feeling normal again. Furthermore, she stated that last night was the absolute worst. Could Brandon have known she was pregnant? A pathologist testified at trial, saying that he or she had determined no burn traces on the baby after re-examining the case and concluding that the initial diagnosis had been incorrect. Her attorneys claimed that since Skylar never cut the umbilical cord, it must have been disconnected during Skylar's pregnancy and caused the baby to be stillborn. Skylar's description of the baby as extremely white and pale provided further evidence that the infant was already dead. They finally concluded that Skylar's eating disorder was still present because she barely gained 15 pounds during her pregnancy. The lack of prenatal care and nourishment undoubtedly led to the infant's death. The family erected a tiny angel statue in their backyard on September 12, 2019, where the stillborn was buried in memory of little Annabelle. Kim and Scott say they frequently visit the area and reflect on what kind of people their granddaughter would have been if she had lived. However, Skylar paid for her deeds in other ways. As far as I can tell, her second attempt at enrolling at the University of Cincinnati was also unsuccessful. The felony charge against her was the reason for this. She eventually enrolled at a nearby university to fulfill her newfound ambition of studying law. Her defense attorneys provided her with an internship at their firm while she was in college, and she was a delight to have around the office.